exciting has it been to see all of your running backs who played flash at some point, whether it be a big run, a touchdown, and how willing are you to rotate as many as three guys maybe going forward?
Well, I think you have to because again, it's earning the right to play, and all three of those guys have shown that they can do their job really well. And our team hasn't skipped a beat when any of those three guys have been in the football game. And you could even talk about Dylan Lee and some other guys have gotten in the game and been able to be successful as well. And I know I talked about this a little bit before, but a lot of credit to Coach Roll. I mean, I think he's come in and done a great job with a really great group that's got great potential. And so, I think it's like I've talked about a little bit with the O-line, when there's great competition and, you're still, there's only one football and you only get 60 to 70 plays in a football game. And so the ball can't go to, it can't go to everybody. So you got to figure out, where that ball's going, and practice helps dictate that at times. But those three guys really all have stepped in major moments and have made big plays for our football team.
Alec asked you last week about Jalen Jackson emerging. He had his biggest game.
Yeah.
Could you describe his journey on his third school, starts at Lamar, every time he's picking himself up, and it's what he's always wanted to do, and now he's on that stage?
Yeah, I think the word probably that, when you talk about Jalen, it just says the word is hungry. He's come in here with a hunger to grow and get better every day. And honestly, how he's practiced, even from spring ball, and I think you guys had asked during spring ball, like, man, who's flashed? He was a name that I constantly brought up, and just the spring that he had was so impressive. And what he brings is a maturity of being at different places, seeing different cultures, but also a maturity of having success on the football field, and what it looks like to take care of your body, and what it looks like to, prepare for practice every day. And I think he's brought that to that room, which has been really rewarding to watch. And he's been an unbelievable senior for us, on top of obviously being a really good football player.
I'll follow up with that with Jalen coming into a running back room. He knew there was going to be some guys. What kind of, belief in yourself does that kind of take?
Well, yeah. Oh, well, I think Jalen's. I really do. I think he always has had great belief in himself. There's not an ego or arrogance. I think his belief is that, and really showed it at Eastern Michigan. And even if you look back at his clips at Lamar, I mean, he was always exceeding and having elite success where he was. And so I think for him, the confidence of, I've been able to be successful on the collegiate level, I've had great success, I think that allowed him to come in here and just really be the best version of himself as he went to practice every day. And again, it's been rewarded, and we've been rewarded with it, because how he's played has been exceptional, but how he's played is equally how he's practiced, and that's been a great for that young running back room to watch that actually flourish as well.
And then when you went back and watched the tape from Houston, did you notice anything overall kind of change offensively from the first half to the second half?
No, not really. I mean, I thought, again, I think if you look at that videotape in the first half, I thought we had some pretty good success. We just didn't have the ability to finish some things that we needed to. But, from my standpoint, I thought, we really did a great job, throughout the football game of, trying to play in the rhythm that we wanted to. I just felt like at times in the first half there were a couple opportunities where we had the ability to finish drives, and we didn't do it. And that's college football, and that's a really good defense. So hats off to those guys, and I thought our kids really battled through it, though.
Matt, what are your concerns with Baylor? And it sounds like they may be getting some injured players back.
Yeah, I mean, I think not even a concern. It's probably a respect of, you look at their 5 games, and, nobody in the Big 12 conference has played better in the second half. The numbers indicated what their scoring margin is in the second half of games. Their kids are playing really hard. They've had some new guys come into their program on both sides of the ball, and I think that's why you see this team, really starting to get into the flow here the last couple of weeks. And as the game goes, they just keep getting better and better. And so I think my respect goes out to Coach Aranda, knowing what kind of coach he is, championship-level coach in this conference, a guy that knows what it takes to have elite success. And you see his team really playing that way. I know they have not been rewarded the last 2 weeks maybe with a win, but boy, how they've played, and especially their ability to come storming back in some of these football games, the mentality, the toughness. We're going to get a really, really good football team, maybe the best team we've played all season coming in here. So a lot of respect for them.
Carson Brown comes in, takes over for Jalen Knoll when he was out late in the third. What did you see from Carson outside of games in practice that made you confident that he could fill that?
Yeah, I think Carson's had a similar journey to a lot of young men in our program that maybe they've had to work up the hard side of the mountain, and I've said that a bunch about this program. And Carson walked on here, came from a really great high school football program, obviously in Dowling Catholic, and played for a great high school football coach, and so flashed early that he had talent, and then the ability to find the right spot. We moved him around even this spring. I had him at corner most of fall or the spring practice because I was trying to find a role for him on special teams. And I think that's the thing that probably exploded first for him is he was a really good special teams football player, and we felt like could be a great player. As we went back into fall camp, and this I attribute to Coach Pauly. I think Coach Pauly had such a high regard of Carson as, man, I want to get him back at receiver. I really think he can help us. And I think that tutelage, confidence, success that he had in fall camp, it's just, in the word for him is consistency. I mean, he's been a guy that's consistently over the last year and a half showed up in a really powerful way, whether it's winter conditioning, whether it's been spring practice, whether it's special teams. He kept showing up and, again, being rewarded for college football is about your moment, right? And you're going to get it. You're going to get an opportunity. It's going to come your way. Do you take advantage of it? And the guys that have consistent habits can go to work every day, maybe not get the result that they want right away, but, man, when their moment comes, they take advantage of it. That's kind of Carson in a nutshell, so we're really proud of him.
Wanted to get a little bit of an injury update as you get into this week.
Yeah.
Jalen Knoll, was that just cramping?
Yep.
And then also a guy I've seen out, Drew Surges, been out for a few weeks now. Update on him. Will McLaughlin, you expect him back anytime soon? And just any other guys?
Yeah, I think we're in a really good spot right now. Jalen will be back. Was just cramping through the second half. I know it was frustrating for him, and but yeah, I think he'll be good to go. It was great today. Drew Surges, I do think he's close to coming back. My hope is that he'll be available this week. Was really close last week. We didn't travel him to the game, but practiced last week and practiced again today. And quite honestly, we haven't had him really since the first game. So, to have Drew back and, obviously where he is on our depth chart, what he means to this team, it'd be huge to get him back and a huge boost. And, Will is working to be back. I expect him back. Still not ready to be back yet, but I think he's closer than farther away to being back to help our football team. Yeah, John's in a tough spot. We still don't know exactly the depth of it. John will not play this weekend. I would say he's out for the foreseeable future. We'll figure out is that the season or not here probably by the end of the week. Steve-O, a lot better. Steve-O, like I said, we traveled him, thought he could play last week, wasn't quite ready to play. But I think he's, doing a lot better today, and I think really close to being ready to rock and roll for the weekend. So I would say yes with Steve-O.
And then one more, like on the offensive line, you got an evaluation of those guys again, and what was kind of your takeaway? It seemed like Bohr played really well in both facets, and just get into who really shined there.
Yeah, and it's hard individually because that it's a collective effort with that group, and I just feel like that group took another really positive step in the right direction. A lot of guys played again, and it's great to have rotation, especially in the humidity and heat that we got there last week. And I thought Jalen Travis really took another huge step forward. Played really good for our football team. Obviously, Jared continues to play at an elite level. At center, I think Tyler Miller's playing the best football of his career right now, which is huge for us. And then those interior guys, I think they're all playing good football. And Trevor's been a great success story just because, again, I really felt like he's got elite talents and elite traits, and it's fun to start to watch his career really take off, and to be able to be playing good enough as a redshirt freshman to earn the right to get on the field, especially with this group, says a lot about what he's doing. So I think playing really good football for us right now.
Along those lines, you guys went with a heavy look a couple times of an extra offensive lineman. What did you like about that?
Yeah, I just think the athleticism with that group, and there's times where, again, you talk about, man, trying to get your best 11 on the field, and so, if we can try to find some ways to create matchups in that regard, we're going to continue to do that. But, it was great to see that set and some of those formations help us and kind of guide us in the football game, and it just gives us some different opportunities to create matchups. How do teams then react to that? What matchups does it create then for us in both the running and the passing game, which is exciting.
You talked a little bit about the team's maturity on Saturday night. But now you guys are 4-0.
Yeah.
The spotlight's going to get brighter. The stakes are going to get
Right.
higher. What have you seen from them, and what's, I guess, just your feeling about how they're going to handle it?
Well, yeah, you don't know how they're going to handle it. You know, I mean, they're 18 to 22-year-olds, and I think the great thing about what we're trying to do is consistently become the best of us that we can be, because that's what it's going to take. And unfortunately, our sport is extremely humbling, right? I mean, as soon as you think you figured it out, you're going to get humbled really fast. It's just too competitive. There's too many good teams, too many good situations, and you got to be hungry, and you got to be a team that's willing to sacrifice everything it takes. And that's not just Saturday. That's like, man, can I keep taking care of my body? Can I keep practicing great on Tuesday? Can I keep practicing great on Wednesday? Man, can I keep practicing great on Thursday? And that's hard. I mean, it's hard for all of us, and that's what makes, in my opinion, college football such a for you guys, probably rewarding to cover because it's entertaining and there's ups and downs. What's the challenge of having elite success at this level is, man, are you mentally tough enough to really show up every day and be your best? And, shoot, that's hard for the coaches to do, let alone ask an 18 to 22-year-old. So, it's a global challenge to our whole program. And whether you're 0-4 or 4-0, it really doesn't matter this time of year, because none of it's going to matter until the end of the football season. And great teams are defined in November and December, not in September and October. So you're just trying to pound away and grow and become your best along the way. So hopefully our kids are tough enough to understand that, but we'll kind of see if we got that kind of leadership this year.
Going back to the offensive line, you guys have talked a lot about positional versatility, being able to play guys at different positions. How do you find the effective balance of being able to keep guys fresh and play different positions, but also the consistency of, this is our front five, these are the five guys that we want to rely on in the most critical moments?
Yeah, that's good. That's a good question. I don't know. I've been the guy that's been the O-line coach that, I've been the guy that wanted to just play five guys, and then I've been the guy, where, man, some years we had 8 guys that were good enough, and it was like, daggone, we're better getting those 8 guys in and rotating through the game, and by the time we get to the fourth quarter, we're a little fresher and we're a little bit best. So I really just think, again, it's one of those situations where, man, this isn't, you better earn the right to play on this team right now. This isn't one of those, hey, we're going to feel it out. You got to earn the right in practice to play. And if you earn the right to practice and play in the game on Saturday, with who this team's trying to be and what this team's trying to do, then you've earned the right to get in the game and be successful. And so I think that group, especially right now where there is some depth, if you earn the right to get on the field, then I think that helps our football team be successful. And again, it's not a feeling out phase or trying to figure out what's the right combination phase. It's like, no, you're trying to dominate the game and you're trying to put the best guys in the game to be successful. And again, even last week, I think those guys Trevor Burr had an unbelievable week of practice. What those guys are doing are practicing really well to earn the right to get on the field, and then it's translating into positive play.
Much different question on the other side of the ball. Your secondary has guys like Bo, Malik, Jeremiah, who have all played a lot of snaps,
Mm-hmm.
but with corners who maybe haven't played a ton of defensive snaps with John Tez and Darian prior to the season. How have you seen those experienced safeties help those lesser experienced corners with game reps come along?
Yeah, those safeties have been an anchor for us, honestly, across the whole team, just and should be and need to be. Those guys have played a lot of football here. Those guys are juniors and seniors now in our football program, and you do have youth around the rest of that defense. And so, I think what those guys have done is they played great football so far this season that have helped, everybody else kind of settle into their role. And, the fun thing is you're starting to see some guys grow in those roles. As you talk about that corner room, that group's really starting to play great football. And, the last couple games, those guys have made critical plays in critical moments for the betterment of our team. So, what you would hope is the guys that have played the most football are playing their best, and that group certainly is doing that, at least so far in the season.
Where is the connectedness level of this defensive unit right now?
Yeah, that's a great question, and I think we'll continue to see where that is. I think it's high though right now. Again, when you have the leadership that you have, starting with Bo, and I think that leadership always trickles down, and we're really fortunate that you got Bo, you got J.R. Singleton, two guys that have been here a long time and have done a lot of great things in our football program, and also have seen good defenses, good teams, bad teams, and the ability of how you prepare every day and holding a high standard for everybody else. I think that's been really big. And you got Miles Purchase played a lot of football here, and so Darian's been here for a long time. Those guys, I think those guys have understood what it takes to play great defense, and certainly play great defense here at Iowa State, and they've been an anchor to kind of helping this group keep growing forward.
Speaking on the defense, that group has found success against run-heavy teams, pro-style, dual threat. What do you make of their versatility?
Well, you have to be, and I think that's again why it's so hard to play great defense in college football. You look in the NFL, and man, you're really probably seeing 2 or 3 families or styles of football. And in college football, man, you're going to see it all, and you're going to see so many different things each and every week, and you got to have flexibility and adaptability to what you do. But you also have to have a great foundation to who you are. And I think that's one of the great things about our defense is we know who we are at our root, and yet each week we've got the ability to be really multiple in what we do and how we do it. And, at the end of the day, our guys got to be able to continue to play good football. And, I would say and I'm sure John would say the same thing, like we still are really far away from being the defense that we want to be. There's been great moments for us, but we can even be better. There were even some moments, obviously through the game on Saturday, man, we need to be better and want to be better. So I think that hunger on top of it is really rewarding to watch, because I think our guys know that, and I think they have the same mentality. And I think there's a lot of growth that can continue to happen for that group.
Speaking on a confidence level for a guy like Abu Sama, obviously this season hasn't really gotten a lot of explosive plays despite the high amount of carries, and then obviously Saturday getting that big explosive touchdown run. What does it do for a guy like him to get his confidence level up, especially going into just beginning the conference season?
Yeah, I think Abu, you guys, you got to remember a little bit with him is, he's such a young tailback. You're talking, really only going into what would be his 3rd year running the football. Was a great corner in high school as a junior, and really only carried the football his senior year, at Southeast. At Southeast Polk, and only a year here last year or so. I think he just keeps growing, and what I love about Abu is there's just a hunger about him to be his best. And I think even this year it's been really fun to watch the difference of a practice player from where he was a year ago to who he is today, and I think that's really helped him. And I still think, yes, confidence, having a great explosive play like that is awesome. I think he's had some really big runs in almost every game that we played. It's just consistently kind of having the ability to be his best. But I think it's been really fun. I think he's made huge strides, and I think he'll only keep making great strides, and it's fun to watch that happen.
Coach, your defensive captains, J.R. Singleton, Bo Freeler, what are those guys like off the field?
Yeah, I honestly, like I told you, Bo should be the head football coach here. He's one of the greatest leaders I've ever seen and ever witnessed, and I think, and that's not just rah-rah, that's like who he is and how he carries himself every day. It's really impressive. And, I think JR has really become that same man in this program. To what both of those have done from January to who they are now, man, they have the ability to hold a really high standard of themselves. And then when you can do that consistently, then people will buy into you, and then you'll have the ability to hold other people accountable. And those two have done that maybe as good as any two tandem that I've seen. And you got to throw Darian Porter in that. Darian has been our game captain the last 2 weeks on the road, and man, has earned the right to be that. And I think Darian's kind of got that same mentality. And I think the equal part of that is not only are they great players and playing really high level of football, but they've got the ability, great leaders reach back and bring others with them. And those 3 have done a great job of their position group, man, of the people on the other side of the football. They've reached back and pulled others with them, and it's been fun to watch.
Yeah, Matt, I guess just a big picture one here. You're a third of the way through the season. Do you think Iowa State this year has established an identity yet? Can you finger point what that is yet?
No, I don't know what it is, other than I think the biggest thing for us is I don't really care about an identity other than the identity that we've always wanted to be here, and that's to be a team that plays with great attitude, great effort, and shows up, plays with great consistency every Saturday. And I do think that this group at least understands what that needs to look like and feel like. Again, kind of back to Travis's question, there's a lot of work to prove that we are that team and can do that. But I think hopefully if people say Iowa State at its best, man, those kids play really hard and they play from the start of the game to the end of the game as hard as they possibly can. And, I think that's the only identity we ever hope to have here. Thank you.